Welcome to episode 67 of the Whatnauts review show, where every week we pick a story and we talk about it. This could be a movie, TV show, anime, manga, comic book, audio drama, all kinds of entertainment. We watch it, read it, listen to it, whatever we need to do, and then we come back here and we talk about it. My name is Melissa Wilkinson, and I am joined as always by Kyle Springer.
Hello, hello.
How are you doing today, Kyle?
Melissa, the sun is shining brightly. Marvel
Yes.
has released all of their new information about all their movies last night.
Oh.
It is a joyous day.
It is a bright, beautiful day when we could, like, the first message I got this morning, like, I've rolled out of bed, I've been awake for 5 minutes, my friend texted me saying, there's gonna be a Blade movie. Blade's coming back.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh. We'll save all that discussion for an episode of the Captain's Log.
Yes.
But yes, I am very excited.
Yep, once we start, we're not gonna stop. And we have something else we have to talk about today. This week's subject was the anime Sweetness and Lightning.
Mhm.
This is a 12-episode series you can watch on Crunchyroll. And it is based off of a slice of life manga written and illustrated by Guido Amagakure. And this was adapted into an anime in 2016. This is a real sweet, super duper cute slice of life show about a single father just learning to cook for his daughter.
I think this is by far the cutest anime I have ever seen. It is adorable.
It is absolutely precious.
If if you are looking for something just filled to the brim with just adorableness and cuteness and just like, oh my god, reactions, it's so cute, then this is exactly what you are going to need to watch. This was a lot of fun.
It is. It's such a feel-good show, and it's not super cutesy. Like, I feel like when we're talking about anime, we have to differentiate. Like, it's not like a bunch of chibis and like cute mascots and things like that. It's just normal people doing normal everyday things in just the most heartwarming way possible.
Yeah. There's a lot of interesting things about this show that I think we'll get into once we get into spoilers. But I do have to say, this maybe wasn't an anime for me. As much as I liked how cute it was, I don't know if I need more of it. I was just like, all right, scene one, you kind of seen them all.
I can see that. Yeah. There's not a whole lot of development.
Not much, no.
It's there, but this is definitely not a plot-driven show.
Right, yeah.
There is no intrigue, there is no suspense. It's just little emotional scenes and cute cooking.
This was a weird one. You were talking to me right before we went live that you forgot that this was the episode that you lead. We switch off, so you do all the odd ones and I do all the even ones. But your brother was on the show last week, and that was also kind of a weird thing where I pitched something that is a Wilkinson family favorite.
Yes.
And so you had thought that one was your pitch, and you're like, "Oh man, I didn't have pitches for this week."
Oh right, I have to do this.
And so Jams was like, "Well, I can recommend some stuff," and he was the one that recommended this. And he mentioned that he's on a quest to watch all of the food anime that is out there.
Yeah, it's apparently a fairly big genre. Like, this is the one he talks about the most, but I think he's wandered into a whole bunch of other cooking-based shows.
Sure, yeah, which I thought that was a neat thing to, like, I'm going to sit down and watch all of the food-based anime stuff. I thought that was neat, so I was like, hell yeah, bring it on. But yeah, so let's do a quick plot synopsis.
Yeah.
And then maybe final general thoughts, and then we can move on to spoiler stuff.
This is a show about a teacher who has this little girl in kindergarten, and his wife died about 6 months ago. And since then, things are holding together pretty well. You know, him and his daughter have a fairly happy life together. But his one weak spot is that he does not know how to cook. He just feeds her like frozen ready meals and like
Kid cuisine.
yeah, like pre-made things
Big
from the
bites.
convenience store.
Yeah.
And he finds that this is something she really misses because her mom used to cook all the time. And he finds that one of his students, her mother owns a restaurant. And the mom has become this big like TV chef, so she's never actually at the restaurant anymore. Like the restaurant does not seem to be open.
It's hidden away in this back
Yeah.
alley behind, like, it looks like a spot that no one would go purposely
I
unless you
think
knew
that
it
is
was
how
back there.
I think that is how a lot of Japanese businesses go. Like they are just in these cramped little alleyways and you just know you're supposed to turn down there and oh, at the back of this hallway is just this amazing little hole in the wall restaurant.
Yeah.
Like it is this tiny little place tucked away. You get the impression that she started it, got a lot of attention, and then moved on to doing like TV appearances, and the actual restaurant is never open.
So it seemed like the TV show she was on was more of a game show, or like a
Yes.
celebrity reality show
Hmm.
kind of thing. So I thought that was neat.
Yeah. But so she's got this teenage daughter who's alone in this restaurant all the time, and she knows how to cook in theory, but she's very nervous about doing it in practice because she's scared of knives. So the two of them team up. She's going to teach the teacher, this is how you cook, and they're just going to help each other out and like give this little girl some good
Some good
home
food.
meals.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's adorable.
Yeah. It's good stuff. Yeah, I both really liked it. I thought it was a great show, but again, it's not really for me. Not something that I think would have
Mhm.
sat down and been like, I want to watch that one.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think I would definitely recommend this.
Yeah.
I think it does a good mix of slice of life stuff, as well as diving into some of the food stuff.
Yeah, I learned a lot.
Unfortunately, I don't think it was enough of either, but that was me. So
Hmm. I could have done with more cooking. I don't know why I was under the impression that this was mostly cooking and everything around it was just a framework to
I
support the cooking.
kind of thought so too.
Yeah.
So it in one sense was a nice
Mm-hmm.
surprise that there was more character stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's super short. I don't know if they're going to be making more of it or not. I tried to look online to see if there was going to be a season 2. Didn't really find much. There are 12 volumes of the manga, so I assume that they have more to work with.
Yeah.
I will also say that this anime could have gone in a lot of directions I was hoping it wouldn't. Also, kind of hoping it would, but it just, like, I feel like it ends up being very safe, in the best way possible.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I understand that. Like there's opportunities to get very emotional and it doesn't take those, which is kind of nice.
yeah, and or emotional is one way, or horny is another way, and
I
this is
guess
not the
so,
show
yeah.
to do that in. But at the same time, it's like the front door to that trope is just right there, and it is
Oh,
glaring
yep.
you right in the eyes, and
Yep.
it's just
Yeah, I
like,
get what you're talking about.
okay.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, we'll get into some more of that down the road here. But yeah, do you have any last things to say about Sweetness and Lightning before we get into spoilers?
I think we've covered it. I think we've really given you the basics.
Yeah, yeah.
What about our
I would
housekeeping?
say check it out. For housekeeping, we have, let's see, what did we cover last week? We covered Metropolis,
Yes.
which is the anime movie that I stumbled on that I had no idea was a Wilkinson family favorite.
Yeah, we've loved this movie since I was about 10. Yeah, when we were like 10 or 12. Long time.
Yeah, that is based off of a manga by Osamu Tezuka, which is kind of loosely inspired by the thought of the 1927 Fritz Lang
Yeah.
silent film by the same name, also
Hmm.
called Metropolis. But this movie was directed by Rintaro and had a script by Otomo, who made Akira. So this is like an all-star creative team coming together to make this, and I thought it was fantastic. So go check that out. You guys can find the review show wherever you listen to podcasts. We're also on YouTube if you want to see our lovely faces. Let's see. The Captain's Log.
Yes.
Which I just mentioned. We might be talking about all of the Marvel announcements from Comic-Con.
We might be. We'll see if something more exciting than that comes up.
I guess if you pull my leg enough, or you twist my arm, maybe if you pay me $20 or something, we'll talk about it. But no, that is one of our other weekly podcasts that we do. We just get to come, hang out, and have a lot of fun, talk about whatever we want. That is also found wherever podcasts are sold. In fact, you can just search the Whatnauts, and all of our shows will pop up. And if you guys like what we do here, patreon.com/thewhatnauts is where you can support us, and for a single $1, you can get access to the live streams of this here review show. And we also put episodes up early. We have exclusive content. We just recorded one on a multimedia webcomic sort of thing called 17,776. And we have we have one coming up in a couple of weeks on For the Man Who Has Everything, which is the title of Superman Annual number 11, as well as Justice League Unlimited Episode 2. Superman Annual 11 is a comic book written by Alan Moore and art by Dave Gibbons. That is the team on Watchmen. And so it's an all-star cast doing that. But we thought we could do a compare and contrast episode for our exclusive content stuff. So that should be coming up in a couple weeks here. Be on the lookout for that. All that information and more at thewhatnauts.com, where you can find us. I'm ready to get into spoilers. Melissa, are you?
Yes.
All right. Here we are. Spoilers. Spoiler alert. Let's see. Where should we start?
I want to start with, right off the bat, there was one critique I had about the show that eventually leveled out for me, and it didn't bother me so much. The little girl. I just saw it. Tsumugi. I got it.
Usually I'm the one bad with names.
It's early. We're doing this earlier than usual. She's adorable in this really naturalistic way. She feels a lot like a real kid. This entire show has a very down-to-earth feel to it. Tsumugi has the biggest, craziest, fluffiest hair.
Yep.
The hair is so cute, and it didn't need to be that cute. Right off the bat, nobody else has hair that beautiful and shiny and springy. And this is almost too much. You made this sundae and you're more cherries on top of it. Yes, it's almost overkill. And as the show goes on and you watch more of it, you get used to it. Okay, all right, this is just how the world goes, I guess.
Yeah. So I guess I'm trying to see how you thought that was a bad thing, because you said you have one critique of the show, or not necessarily bad thing, but what exactly is your critique?
It bugged me a little bit because I'm you do not need to make her cuter. The writing, the acting, everything has already done its job. The character designer didn't need to give her all these beautiful swirls and loops in her hair. No, trust yourself. It's already covered. She is cute enough without also this big, adorable hair.
Interesting. I'm going to look up the mangaka.
I did look up here on the Wikipedia article, there is a picture of her, and that is the way her hair looked in the manga, so it's not anime specific.
Let's see. Guido. How do you spell the guy who made the, or the person who made the manga's last name? Can you spell that out for me?
Amagakure.
Okay, I'm gonna see. Oh, images. What does images turn up? All just sweetness and lightning stuff. I'm wondering if, is usually when you see a creative work or something like that where there is a certain character or a certain
Hmm.
feature or detail or building that is just
Hmm.
given so much extra love and attention,
Yeah.
it's usually because it's closer to real life. Like they
Mm.
have a daughter like that, or that was
Yeah. I
them
can see that.
when they were younger. Um, so I'm wondering if that's the case. I don't know.
And it does kind of work in that it's so like long and curly, and you can tell that dad has no idea what to do with it.
Oh
He's
yeah,
like, one ponytail, two pigtails. Okay, there we go. It's taken care of. And no, it's this big mess all over the place.
yeah, and
But
she
like,
doesn't really seem to mind. I mean, because there is a scene later on, excuse me, where she kind of ventures out on her own, but she ties it up into a ponytail and puts on a hat and ventures out in the world. So
mhm,
she kind of knows if she wants to change it, she can, but she
yeah.
just does. She just kind of leaves it as is.
Wild, just wild and free.
Wild
Yeah.
child, yeah.
But it's you picture Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Perhaps among the wackiest of all anime hair. When you think about Yu-Gi-Oh, you think about that hair. I don't know the defining personality trait of Yugi. Like the hair does the work for him. You know, he's a
There's a
memorable
joke
character.
somewhere in there about how his personality is a lot like cards and Hallmark cards specifically. Like he has a Hallmark card
I
personality.
see
I don't
that.
know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
He's
have
sort
to
of
workshop that one.
okay. All right. I'll check in with you next week. But like, you remember him entirely visually. Like
Yeah.
I
You've
remember all the
activated my trap
platitudes from
card.
the show, but it's not like he was any different than like any of his friends so much.
He also had like an oddly deep voice that I
Well, when
didn't
he's in the Yami Yugi state, not just every day as a teen.
it's all the same to me. Just like, you've activated my trap card. It's like, what? That's a kid. That's supposed to be a kid. No.
He sends to this higher plane, and I think like an ancient god embodies him and makes him play cards real good. I don't remember a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh, but that's the point. You remember the hair and nothing else.
Yeah.
With Tsumugi, like she is such a lively, vivid character all on
Uh-huh.
her own. Like the hair was just like it's turned up like a couple notches too high.
Okay. Okay. I don't think I found really anything to critique about Tsumugi. I thought she was just fine. I think it
Yeah.
was kind of played up in the sense that like the father is such a piece of limp toast
Yeah.
that he like
This is true.
he's so boring, he's so plain, and they make note in the show to be like, hey, there's actually nothing wrong with being that, and
Mhm.
just like not really like having such a busy life where you really don't have time for yourself.
Mhm.
That's it's okay. It might not be ideal, or it might not be because you have a choice, right? You might have a daughter. Your wife might have died. Who knows? It's okay though to be just kind of plain and
It's like,
boring,
yeah,
you
he's
know.
like, I'm just living day to day. I do
But
not have room for hobbies or quirks.
right, and it is that kind of yin yang. I think that works out really well in this show, where he is that calm, kind of boring pet rock, and
Yeah.
and Sumugi is just this like wide-eyed, like everything
Yeah.
is new. Oh my god. I think one of the funniest lines in the show is when they're making the squid and
Mhm.
taro thing, and she's looking at the face of this
Yes.
squid that they just chopped off, and she's looking at it so intently, and you're kind of like, why is she looking at, like, you're starting to wonder, is she gonna want to be a vegetarian because she doesn't like these, like, this fish that or this thing that used to be alive now just had its head chopped off and pulled apart and stuff like that. And the show almost dips into magical realism from time to time, and it goes into one of those moments where we see Tsumugi, like, plunged into the depths of the ocean, and she sees this giant squid come up right next to her and all of this stuff, and then she's all of a sudden snapped back to reality as they ask her to do something, and then she goes, I almost had an epiphany. And it just completely straight face, just like, I almost solved the universe. Like, it almost made sense, Dad. But I like, it's funny to see her do that stuff and just be bewildered by everything.
Yeah,
whereas her dad is just like, so boring.
He is a math teacher.
Yeah.
Through and through. He is the just the soul and personality of a math teacher.
Apologies to any math teachers out there listening to this.
Math teachers, yeah.
But yeah, so I liked that stuff. I think the critiques for me were more that, I felt like this didn't end up going anywhere, and I kind of wanted it to. Which
yes,
I think, like I said at the start, I feel like if you've seen one, you've kind of seen them all.
I don't know if there's a tremendous amount of difference from one episode to the next.
They don't really go into actually teaching you to cook, you the viewer, and I don't know if I really felt like, I don't remember his name, the father's name, Kohei.
Yes, Kohei. I also forgot because everybody just calls him Dad or Senpai.
By his last name, Inuzaka.
Yeah.
All right, I guess, yeah. But I don't know if I really felt like he learned either. This was a weird thing where based off the pitch, I was imagining that his student actually does know how to cook, but that's not the case. She also doesn't really know how to cook. She can maybe do basic stuff, help out around, but she's following her mom's recipes, but she also wants to learn to cook. So it's like, hey, let's learn together. Which is, I still think is a fantastic premise, but by the end of these 12 episodes, I don't know if I really felt like they learned anything other than to follow a recipe.
There's little bits of development. Like, I do like in the last episode where they go to a restaurant and Dad kind of, I have to call him something other than Dad. Inuzaka, like, kind of scolds Tsumugi for just, no, I'm gonna do it. Here, I'm gonna shake the seaweed flakes onto my own dinner. I know she just covers the thing in this flakes. And he's like, that's too much. You can't eat that. And he kind of scolds her. And later he says, it is my job to scold you, but I did a bad job at scolding. That was a little rough. I apologize.
Yeah.
I think we both know what we messed up today. Like, that's nice, but it's a tiny thing. Like, there's lots of little, like, action and behavior adjustments, and I don't know if there's really anything different character-wise from, like, first episode to last episode.
Yeah. The reason why those didn't really work out for me is because I never felt like the father and daughter were at odds. Right? Like, if they had a little bit of a rocky relationship, or if she would, like, if Tsumugi was more attached to the mother and the father was having trouble connecting with her,
Mm-hmm.
that would be a thing where it's like, hey, here's a moment where they've finally connected, where it's like, hey, I know you are growing up and you're trying, and I'm trying to,
Mm-hmm.
it's not perfect, but we're like, help me help you kind of thing. And I don't know if those moments really held weight because of that. It's like
Mm-hmm.
they seemed to get along fine. They seemed pretty happy despite like recently losing their wife.
Yeah.
Like the show didn't really go into much grief of
No.
losing the
Like there's
wife.
little things like when Inuzaka asks Tsumugi, "Hey, all the other girls in your class are getting new school bags. Do
Mm-hmm.
you want a new school bag?" And she's like, "No, I want mom's.
My
Mom
mom
made this
made,
for me.
yeah.
I'm keeping this bag." Like there's lots of little touches like that. I feel like this entire series is just a lot of little touches, and every little touch is great, but it doesn't operate on the same like arc dynamics as a normal narrative does.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm wondering because I this almost follows more of a sitcom recipe, no pun
Uh-huh.
intended there. Uh where it's like it's the same cast of characters, they're kind of doing the same things every episode, and they learn some kind of lesson or they get taught something, but by the next one it's basically all set back to zero,
Mhm.
right? That's almost what this was, though I don't feel like it was a sitcom, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Mhm.
Um, and so I'm wondering if you think this show would have played better or worse if it leaned into more of a sitcom style show.
I No, I like it just the way it is. Like I'm not watching it saying I wish this was funnier. I wish this was wackier.
Okay,
Like it is
I
what
think
it is,
I
which is just
agree.
this lovely like ah like it's just like feel good. It's like, yeah, this isn't an entire nourishing meal. It doesn't include every narrative ingredient I need to sustain myself. It's kind of like a big pile of whipped cream. But sometimes you want to eat just a big pile of whipped cream.
Yeah, exactly. Um, so I wanted to talk a little bit more about the magical realism aspect
Mm.
of
Yeah.
this show, because I really liked that too. That Sumugi was this character that just got joy and excitement from everything.
Yeah.
I think my favorite scene in the entire show was the episode where she ventures out on her
That's a
own
great episode.
and she has that whole sharks song.
Yes.
It's so
Mhm.
good. Um, and it just has this thing where she's off in her own world. Like
Mm.
she has enough of a self-given mission to
Yes.
go out and get help for her dad who's homesick, and she wants to help him. But when she's out there, she's just kind of doing her own thing, which it's an interesting scene because it's a child all by
Mhm.
herself. I don't know if they said how old she is or how old she's supposed to
I
be.
think they say she's in kindergarten, but I don't know if that's like,
I don't know if that's
the
what
same
specific
age it would be
age that
here in
is.
America. So
Yeah,
I
um,
presumed she was around 4 or 5.
something like that. But yeah, so that's a small enough kid where I feel like people would turn and look and be like, is there a parent around here? What's
Again, I
going
think
on?
this is another cultural thing. I think I have heard that children in Japan are more independent. Like I walk to school by myself. I'll walk to grandma's by myself. I'll walk to
Sure.
the corner store by myself and buy juice or whatever.
I get that impression too, but I think it's a young enough age where it's still just like something's a little bit like should you at least be with other people your age? Like should you be with why are you by yourself?
Yeah,
Um
like she encounters some very, very sweet people. Like I love
yeah,
those two ladies in like the workout
that
gear that are like, we'll both hold
helper.
your hands while
Yeah.
you cross the street. But yeah, nobody is like, So where are you going? Are you going to meet somebody? Like they're not concerned or curious.
Yeah,
They're not
they
even
just
like checking in like what are you
walk
up
right
to,
by her.
little
Yeah.
person?
Yeah, but so she's walking down the street to go get some help for her dad, and she just starts doing the thing where she's like walking on the edge of the curb, like only walking on that straight line, making sure
Mhm.
she won't fall
Yeah.
off. And she's singing this song about sharks and how she doesn't want to meet them. They're scary, and you should watch out for sharks.
Mm-hmm.
But it is like this happy-go-lucky song. It's not this like scary, creepy thing. But in her head, she's imagining she's basically walking on a plank in the middle of the
Yeah.
ocean, and there's
Yeah.
sharks surrounding her, and she gets stuck because she's at the intersection, and that's when the two women help her, and they like
Mhm.
lift her up
Yeah.
and cross, and she has this scene where it seems like she takes off and goes flying.
Mm-hmm.
Like I kind of wanted that magical realism because I really liked it, but more with food stuff and more what that meant for her as she's trying out this new food, and
Mm-hmm.
what is the revelation about the burnt rice that she
Mm-hmm.
has there. What is the epiphany that she has with that, you know? um like what is this food to her in her mind? Because like
Mm-hmm.
it again, it almost follows that sitcom formula where it ends with they eat the food and say this is really good, and that's it. And so it's
I
like, yeah, it's good, but like you have such an imagination. What is going on within your mind?
Yeah, it would be nice if it could be applied to like metaphors or something. Like, oh, there's a kid in my class I don't know if I like, but just like I didn't like green peppers, but when you put them in gratin or if you put them in the curry and then it just blended in, like the curry made it good. Like,
So if we
I don't know
push
if
him in the sand and bury him, then maybe
no,
we
but
might
like
like him more.
oh, there's this kid in my class who I don't know if I get along with, but we all played a game together and the game is fun and that made me think that this classmate is more fun, something like that.
Yeah.
I did like that she has such a rich imagination and fantasy life. Like she keeps doing this thing when she's in the restaurant. She's like, "Oh, I'll dance around or I'll sing a song or I'll chant something and this is a spell and it
Yeah.
will make sure like, the dough doesn't deflate. It'll make sure like the rice doesn't
Clump,
burn, like
clump,
the
no
the
clumps,
batter doesn't
clump.
get lumpy." Yes, yes. She has an entire no clumps dance. And Yagi's like, no, I don't need it. No, I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing. Like, you don't have to dance for me. I've got it. Like he's like insulted by I don't need magic. I can do it. But I love that she's imagining all these things and everybody just lets her keep imagining.
Yeah.
Like everything is this kind of magic fantasy thing to her. Like everything is a spell.
Mhm.
And everybody just lets her go ahead and do that, which is really charming. It's like, okay, Tsumugi, do you want to dance to make sure, like, we don't burn this?
Right, yeah. And I think part of that comes from her love of magical girl anime.
Yeah, I like that there's like one show in particular she really loves that like her entire class really loves.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
like
like
the hit show that's out right now.
mhm. Yeah, I liked that show. Like this show within a show. It felt very, again, naturalistic. There
Uh-huh.
would be kids that are that focused on like one thing that much.
It was Power Rangers for us when we were
Yeah.
kids.
And I feel like if this was more of a sitcom, there would be more jokes about that thing. Like it feels very Sailor Moon, but it's not a parody of Sailor Moon. It's not making fun of Sailor Moon or card captors or anything else of that
I'm
genre.
glad you bring that up because that was another thing that I think this story like got right to the edge of and just didn't go in, didn't even
Mhm.
ring the doorbell or
Yeah.
like, hey, we're gonna go down this route. What was her name? What was let's see here. What
Oh,
is the
Katori?
no,
The
not Kotori's friend,
Oh, yes.
Shinobu.
Shinobu. Yeah. I like Shinobu.
She looks an awful lot like Usagi from Sailor Moon. Same
Yeah.
hairstyle with the big long
Mhm.
pigtails that go all the way down. I was certain there was gonna be something where Tsumugi is like, oh,
A real magical
yeah,
girl.
it's a real magical girl, and no, that wasn't in there. Um, and at the same time, it's also one of those things like I know Sailor Moon is wildly popular. I
Mhm.
don't know if that is the wildly popular one of her time. So does Tsumugi really know Sailor Moon? Would she make that
Yeah.
connection? If like if 'cause that look is so iconic to me
Mhm.
that I feel like it had to be put in there on purpose, but then they didn't use it.
Mhm.
And so
I
I'm wondering if maybe they could have done something with Shinobu looking like the character in the Magical Girl show in
hmm.
Sweetness and Lightning and having something there. Because I think that would have been neat. Because it also they kind of make a point of since their mother died, like Tsumugi really hasn't had friends over. Like
Yeah.
she still has friends and stuff like that, but she hasn't really got to hang out with them much. So I feel like she would be lonely or something, and
Mhm.
to see this older girl who looks like a magical girl, I think that would be a great role model for her. I mean, I I don't. I guess we don't really get enough of Shinobu's actual character to be like,
Mhm.
is she actually a good role model or not? We don't know.
I will say this about Shinobu real quickly. You see her like in the opening credits from the very beginning, but she's not introduced until a couple episodes in.
Hmm.
And when you see her in the opening credits, I was under the impression that she was going to be like an antagonistic character. Like there's something about the way she looks, like the way she's designed that outside of any context, like she seems like she's going to be the prissy, snobby, bullying one. Does this make sense to you?
Yeah,
Like, I
I
don't
can
know.
see
I think it's
that.
just like the big, perfect, swirly pigtails. And she's like very self assured and confident and sassy. And she's
Hmm.
such a great friend when you actually see her. But when you see that kind of look on her face in the opening credits without any context, it's like, oh, is she like mean to Katori? Is she like a mean girl at school? And then it's like, oh no, thank goodness. They are legitimately very good friends.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't much of a like protagonist relationship, but she also wasn't like it's another character. But again, it's one of those things where it's like I don't see it. It didn't really move the show forward. It was just another
No.
character, which I don't know. Like if you were to move this show forward, how would you do it? What would you do?
Like I can see what you're talking about. When they introduce Shinobu, there is an element of what if Kotori's like, "Oh no, this is my personal bonding time with the teacher. I don't want somebody else getting in on this." And like she's going to get jealous and she's going to really confront the fact that she has a crush on this teacher. And she doesn't. They don't. It's not there.
Yeah,
But again,
never
you're right.
mentioned.
Like they're all of these doors are there clearly marked and nobody like there's
Let's be
walking
honest
past all of
though.
them.
What a way to hit on your teacher. What a way.
Mm.
Perfect. You have this one in the bag, Katori. No, it's
Exactly.
yeah,
And she
it's
never
funny.
like goes into that. Like she never lets herself believe clearly I am on the path to romance now. It
Yeah.
never gets that far. And it's nice. Like it's really refreshing that it never gets that far.
So
But again,
if not romance, how would you move the show along? What kind of character development or story development would you want to put in there?
I wanted to learn so much more about is it Yagi?
That's the other friend, the blonde
Yes,
haired dude.
Yagi. I was really intrigued by Yagi. Like he's a chef too. Why like just what is his relationship with Inuzaka, especially when he says like, "Oh, here I am getting ignored again."
Yeah.
And when we find out that like he also among his cooking training, like he knows how to make pastries. And he learned when he was in high school, like, okay, Unizaka, what do you like? What can I make for you? And it almost seems like, oh, I've had a crush on this man forever, but he married this other woman and I can't let go of him, so I'm just
I
always
can
the
see
friend
that
at the end
read.
of this, the friend on the sidelines for the rest of our lives, maybe.
I don't know if I agree with it, but I can see that.
Exactly. Like I don't. It's not like clearly this is it, but like you could see how that could be there.
Mm-hmm.
I also wondered if he's like, oh, here I am getting ignored again. Like, I don't know. Like, did he also have a crush on the mom or something? Like, there's something there. You get the impression there's something there, and
Yeah.
it never goes into it. And that's the one thing where I'm like, yes, get into this one.
He could
I
have
want
been
to
a
know, like,
good
the drama
character.
behind this one.
He could have been a good character to draw out more personality from the father of just
Mm-hmm.
like, what were you like when you had free time? When
Yes.
you know, what would you do for yourself? What kind of trouble did you used to get into?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, you used to have this secret love for X, Y, and Z. Why
Mm-hmm.
aren't we talking about that and putting that
Yeah.
in the food? Why aren't we doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I feel like that could have been an interesting way to move things along.
Yeah, like there's an episode where Tsumugi's class is having like a lock-in sleepover night to
Mhm.
celebrate like end of summer or something like that. And Inuzaka goes home and then Yagi calls him like, "Hey, tonight's the sleepover, isn't it? Like, do you want to come hang out with me? Let's go out for some drinks." And Inuzaka says, "No, like I want to be able to drive like in case I have to go back over there. Like I guess in case Tsumugi just gets, too scared in the middle of the night or something like that," which is a
Mhm.
good sensible thing to say.
Yeah.
But then it's like, well, I mean, what else do you guys want to go to a movie? Do you guys want to go to an arcade? He's like, "Oh no, I shouldn't be drinking. So we're not going to be doing anything tonight then." Like, no, pick something else. Like, I want to see the two
Yeah.
of you hang out. This is such a show. Like, I love Samugi and I love how this is such a family-based show, but I wanted to see more of Inuzaka just as an adult. More of him missing his wife, not just as the mother of his child, but as like his personal romantic partner. Like, how do you feel about the single part of being a single dad?
Yeah.
Like, do you want to go reconnect with your old friend? Like, how, when you are stressed out, what do you do about that? Like, what do you do to burn off steam? Like, who are you outside of being a dad and a teacher?
Right.
We see so little of that.
Yeah. Um. I think if I were to kind of move this show along, yeah, I think it would be one. It would be Kohei coming up with his own recipe,
Yeah.
like finally putting everything together that he learned. Oh, this goes good with this thing. This is how you prepare the rice. That way, I learned how to cut an onion or do that. Now I can mix this in with that. That was one of the things that I thought was sorely lacking in this show.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just they read a recipe, they eat it, and it's yummy, and that's
Yeah,
it.
there's
They
not a
don't
lot
really
of
learn.
experimentation. There's not a lot of like, well, we're just going to try it and fail and see what happens. Like, there's individual things like, oh, we're going to make donuts. First batch of donuts didn't work, but we have more donuts right there that we can immediately go and fry. Like,
Yeah,
there's no risk anywhere.
yeah, yeah. Um, or like something because like TV dinners and stuff, sure, aren't the most aren't the best thing to eat from time to time, but every now and then it's kind of nice to just not have to worry about making all of this
Yeah.
stuff. So could there have been an episode where they did experiment with something and it went wrong and they didn't have food, so they're like, well, do you want to just go get a frozen pizza or
Mm-hmm.
something? And like it's one of those things like where maybe they learn to appreciate that frozen food in a new
Mm-hmm.
way or something, that it's just like, hey, it's actually not bad to do this every once in a while where we can just sit down and watch
Mm-hmm.
this magical girl show together while we eat bagel bites.
Yeah, Yeah, like,
you don't always have to spend the evening cooking and doing this big long meal and that be it. Like, there can be other stuff, or they can go
yeah.
out to the restaurant where it seems that what was his name? Yugi?
Y- Yagi.
Yagi, where he works. Do they have chicken tenders or something? I'm sure Samugi can eat those.
Yes.
Like, yeah,
Yeah, I would like.
some more branching out.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing an episode about, well, sometimes just going to McDonald's is a real good time.
It's a treat, yeah.
Yes. Something else I was kind of wondering if the show was going to do was it takes so long for us to really get to know Katori's mom. Like, we
Yes,
see her briefly, and she's
she's a
not
non-character for most of the show.
and she's not exactly distant from Katori. Like, Katori always says, I asked my mom for the recipe and she wrote it out. And it's always in this very cute, like, I hand wrote this, I made you all these illustrations. Like, her mom isn't around very much, like, but it seems like they still have a good, positive relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so long until we get to meet the mom. Like, actually, here she is. She's in a scene interacting with other characters that aren't Katori, and she gets to meet Inuzaka and Tsumugi and everybody. And it takes so long to get there. This isn't like the last 5 minutes of the last episode. I was wondering, like, are they keeping her away for some narrative reason? Is she like, oh, we flirted once in college, like her and Inuzaka? And like, is
Yeah,
this because that's what you would expect from, like, it's traditional to the point of being very hokey. Like, well, we took these two families and
it's
we just put them together.
it's almost like Mary Jane's reveal in Spider-Man in like the original
Uh-huh.
comics back
Yes.
in the day, um, where Aunt May was becoming friends with Mary Jane's mother, and it just kept wanting to set Peter up on this date. Be like,
Mhm.
oh, she's such a nice girl. You'll love her. You guys will get along, perfect. And Peter's just like, I have no time for this. I'm in school. I'm a growing boy. Leave me alone. Don't talk to me about girls. This is weird and awkward. And so he just keeps dodging it, and every time you see Mary Jane in the comic, she's always like behind something, so you can't see her. Like, you only get to see her legs from like the knee down. It's like, ooh, scandalous. You can see a knee. um, but yeah, like, they keep building her up as like, oh, she's gonna be something really special. Like, she's gonna be incredible. And then the first time you finally see her, she does have this really incredible line where the first thing she says to Peter is, face it, Tiger, you just hit the jackpot. Like, she has this amazing confidence, like all of this stuff, and she's super hot, and Peter's just like, oh, hi. I wasn't expecting you to be this good looking.
Yeah.
And he's kind of taken aback, but it all led to this big reveal, and then this, yeah, maybe we should go out on a date and stuff like that. So you're right. I think it would have been neat to be, yeah, like, who is she? Why is she not here? Does she know them somehow? What's happening? Is she sick?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then at the end there is that like look between them where it's like, it seems like I'm a single mother, seems like you're a single father.
He was a boy, she
Maybe.
was a girl.
Yeah.
Could I make it any more obvious?
Exactly.
See, that is what I was expecting, which is such a Brady Bunch sort of thing to do, but it wouldn't not fit in to everything else that the story had set up.
Right.
I think it's the episode before that where Samugi's going to, like, her class is doing a play, and she was kind of arguing with the other girls about, like, what role everybody's going to play. And her dad's trying to talk to her about, like, oh, next time we go see Katori, we're going to make this. She's like, Dad, all you ever talk about is food. Why do you never talk about girls?
Yeah.
And she's saying it as like, I need something, like, I need advice. Somebody help me with the other little girls in my class. But I also wonder if it's something like, I wish I had another woman at home I could ask, about this. Like, I'm arguing with these girls in my
Yeah.
class. Mom, what should I do about it? Like, is
Right.
she
Yeah.
starting it to the point where she's like, I would like a mother figure again, and they don't get into it.
So how did you feel about the kind of subtext with the relationship stuff? Between the student and the teacher, between the teacher and the mom. What were your thoughts on
I
all of that stuff?
I did keep wondering, like, is Katori's little crush actually going to turn into, not like, oh, here they go, they are the couple now, but like, is she going to do anything with it? And she really doesn't. Like, I was waiting for her to make some sort of a confession, or like maybe go a little too far, like, oh, that was maybe a little bit too blatant in telling him how much I enjoy his company. Whoops, I got to scale this back or else I'm
Uh-huh.
going to be caught. Or like, was she going to grow out of it? Was like doing this actually going to give her like a lot more confidence, and maybe
Yeah.
the restaurant is open one day and she's helping her mom, and like another nice person her own age, who was some boy her own age, maybe comes on in and she's like,
Sure.
I can help you out, actually, I've got this one. And like, was this going to be a launching pad for her to like get more confidence and like develop a really strong peer relationship with somebody? And it didn't turn into anything. Like, she never did anything with it. And I didn't want like I didn't necessarily want, yes, please confess your feelings to the
Right.
teacher. That doesn't sound fun to watch,
It's
but
a
it is.
weird thing too, because for us here in America, she's absolutely underage.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
this is not a thing that should be happening.
Yes.
This is all just a little bit awkward that you're spending so much alone time with this one student in
Mhm.
a non like tutoring manner,
Mhm.
right? It's just like, let's just learn to cook together. That doesn't sound like a date, right? Um, it, it, it's a weird, but I also don't know where she is in high school. I don't know what the age of consent and all that stuff is in Japan or where they are. So I don't want to comment too much on
Mm.
that. Besides, here in America, that's really weird.
Yeah, see, this is the thing. Like, I didn't want anything to come out of it, but it was like narratively frustrating that that plot thread is dangling there and never they they don't do anything with it. Like,
It's
it's
it's like one of those days when you have an eyelash or something that's hanging in the
yes.
corner of your eye and you can't get it out, and you
Yeah.
keep like, what in the world is going on, you know?
Yeah, or like the Chekhov's gun thing. Like,
Sure.
I don't want anybody to get shot, but the gun is in the scene and it's got to go off, guys. Come on, like, you put it in there.
Yeah. Yeah. um but at the same time, I think if you take the age differences out of that and the situational stuff, I think this is almost a show that has done that very well,
Yeah.
in the sense that it is not necessarily a romance. It is not necessarily them being like, hey, let's go on a date, let's spend time
Mhm.
together, like us two. It's they're just kind of doing this. The father is doing this for their daughter, but because of the time spent, it's like, oh, maybe we did actually kind of form a little bit of a relationship
Mhm.
here. That's, and it's one of those things that I feel like Yagi and Shinobu could be the ones to say it, which it seemed like that's what they were doing when they were like, we're gonna go off in this other room and leave you two.
I was so curious about the two of them because you see the two of them interact before it's clarified, oh, her family owns like a produce stand or something, and that's where his restaurant gets the ingredients. So like they've known each other for a
Right.
while. They've built up this rapport. Instead, it's just like here's this one teenage girl and this one like grizzled adult man who have got
Who's
this
a chain smoker.
instant back and forth banter, and I'm like, what is this from?
Right.
I did like the two of them together, like that they're, and again, that,
Like, and that could have been a
and it
relationship
isn't.
too. Yeah.
And it's kind of nice. I like that they just platonically, like, just banter and argue with each other all the time.
Mm-hmm. But I feel like they could have been the characters to not only recognize that there is a relationship
Mm-hmm.
between the teacher and what was her name again?
Katori?
Katori. I'm terrible with names. They could have been the ones to recognize it, and that's where, yes, if you did get the moments where they went out to go eat, you know, during the sleep over that night. It's like, hey, come get some drinks with me. That's when he could ask, so what's up with you and Katori? You guys seem to
Yeah.
be getting along really nice. You
Mm-hmm.
know, what's going on there? And we don't get that. And it is this weird thing of like, yeah, good. I'm glad that they don't go down that route because it is weird for us, especially here in
Yeah.
America. But at the same time, go down those like it's right there.
Like,
What are you
don't,
doing?
exactly, like, don't put it in if you're not going to do something with it.
Yeah, yeah.
This show defies a lot of traditional that we are used to as an American audience, perhaps. It defies a lot of traditional like narrative structures, and
Mm-hmm.
it's frustrating, but it's also kind of nice. Like, oh, it's kind of pleasant. Like, oh, there's no stakes, there's no risks, like there's no drama, there's no intricacies or intrigue or anything. It's like things are going to be cute,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to watch them cook some cute food. That's it. Like
Everything
it's
was
kind of
awesome.
nice that that's it. Like this is a show designed to cleanse your palate from any other show you might be watching.
Sure. I just had an idea,
Mhm.
another way to potentially move the show forward. Um, I because Katori has that fear of knives.
Yes.
Did I don't remember. Did they mention why it was? Did she cut herself
Yeah,
really
like she
badly?
acts yeah, I think she accidentally cut herself when she
Okay.
was a little kid, and she says she was with her dad, which is the only time her dad is mentioned. And I wanted like a little bit
True.
more explanation about that. Like is he are they divorced? Did he also die? Like
Who
what?
knows? Yeah.
I just
So
kind of want to know what's happening here.
I'm wondering if instead of her becoming a chef, she becomes a critic instead. She learns
Oh.
to write about food, and
Mhm.
this is where like they both learn to cook well enough that they know what they're doing, and this
Mhm.
is where what was his name, Kohei, where
Mhm.
he then learns to start making dishes on his own to give to Tsumugi to make sure she eats well, but also to, hey, how is this food? What do you think of it? How can
Yeah.
I make it better? And you know, and she starts to be like, okay, well, you can do this. It doesn't have this kind of flavor in it, or who knows what. And they each kind of go their own separate routes in terms of like the food
Mhm.
industry type of thing,
Yeah.
rather than let's both be chefs.
Uh-huh.
That might just give the show a little more depth,
Mhm.
maybe. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, like we don't
She
learn
learns to
about
write.
this.
Yeah.
Katori is of an age where she's got to be thinking about a career. Does she want to do anything like what her mom does? Does she
Yeah,
wish
because
like
it
is that a
seems
goal
like
of
she's not
hers?
going to be able to make it as a chef unless she gets over her fear of knives,
Mhm.
and it doesn't
Which
seem like she really wants to get over it.
yeah, this is something else that's introduced and is never resolved. Like
Right.
she is not over the fear of knives by the end of the season, into the series.
Mm. Who knows?
Mhm.
Who knows? Um, I don't know. I think that's almost all I have to say about this show. Did you want to talk any about the kindergarten stuff? Was there
Oh
anything there
yeah,
you wanted
it's
to talk about?
just briefly. No, it was just very cute. Like this has uh even less substance than the rest of the show, which sounds harsh, but like this is a show I think designed to not
It's not meant to
it
focus on
there's no
that.
weight to anything because it doesn't want to be heavy, and that's the point of it.
Sure.
It's meant to be as light as possible.
Yeah.
And yeah, the like you go to the kindergarten, there aren't really any plot threads or anything like that introduced, which is nice. It's just a parade of these like cute kids and these other nice moms. I liked all the moms whenever they showed up. They each felt like very distinct, even in their brief appearances.
I'll wait for you to go poopies.
Yeah, it was very cute. Yes. I like the other
That was
kids.
such a strange scene where it's almost like them standing up in revolution.
Like, no, not until everybody is in the room together will we begin to play the game.
Oh my
It's
god,
nice.
it was so funny. But
Mhm.
I think that also could have been a change of pace for the show to kind of check in on progress of Tsumugi and Kohei and how they
Mhm.
are, right? I think because all you know, the moms talk. That's what moms do. They have their mom's
Yeah.
circle and they
Mhm.
gossip and they do all of that stuff. And he seems like the one single dad there,
Yes.
right? So we know. I'm assuming that all the moms talk about him. I'm sure they check in on him now and then. But I think seeing him in that context would be a good kind of place marker of where he's at. Hey, you seem different now. You seem more confident. Or hey,
Yeah.
like you did this thing for the kindergarten where you made all of these snacks. That was really nice. We didn't
Mhm.
expect it. Like, thank you for doing it. But again, yeah, it's just like he's still milked toast.
Mhm.
He's still just this limp noodle,
Yeah.
and he doesn't really interact with them all that much, except there is that one scene where he checks in uh on Samugi after he's made the big fluffy pink sheep
Yes.
pig costume
Mhm.
thing. But yeah, like that is just I feel like another missed opportunity.
Mhm.
I feel like for all the missed opportunities in this show, it's still a good show.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm watching a piece of Swiss cheese. There's so much stuff missing here. It is so pleasant. It's so wonderful. It was a real delight to watch. It's just you have to recalibrate yourself to not expect the things you would normally be expecting.
Yeah, yeah, it was good.
Mhm.
I had fun, and I
Yes.
think the opening theme song was very catchy
It is
too.
cute. Let's talk
Thus,
about the
I was gonna say, thus adding to my theory that all anime with really really
That's right.
good
Yes.
opening theme songs means the show will be good, because if they know it's
Mm,
good,
mhm.
they're gonna spend that money to
Yes.
get a good song. Of
Uh,
course, all art is subjective and stuff like that, so some people can think certain songs are good when in reality
mhm,
they're not.
mhm.
But you know, you could be wrong. It's fine.
I wanted to ask you real quick here at the end, what was the tastiest dish for you? Let's talk about the actual food real quick. Like, what was the thing
Tastiest
they made
dish.
where you're like, that, I want to eat that?
Well, I don't like seafood. I am not a seafood guy, so the
Uh-huh.
squid stuff was disgusting to me. I was like, "Ugh." Them like reaching their fingers up in the thing to like pull it
I
out.
didn't know that's how it was done. Like, I
Ugh.
liked that a lot. Like, I've never thought about how a
No
squid
thanks.
is cut up and prepared for
Yeah,
food.
and
So that
they
was,
all
it's
did that
education.
thing. They all did that thing where they like reached in it and it gave them the chills.
Yeah.
I was wondering what that was. I
No, I
don't
think
know if that's a
it's just
real thing. Does it
it's
just
just
feel
gross chills.
squishy? And yeah, and it's like
Yeah.
I'm sticking my fingers up in
It
its
feels like how
guts.
you imagine it feels like, I guess.
Or I was like, is it some like electro? Are they being electrocuted? What is going on here? Fish are weird. I don't want to eat them. Um, I didn't like that. The one that I thought was interesting was, I think, the one where they burnt the rice.
Yeah.
Because I don't know exactly what that was, but it seemed more like a carnival snack that they ended up making. They did the weird thing where they're like, let's make donuts for dinner. Which, of course, I really like donuts and stuff like that. So those looked fantastic. But I think the one that was most interesting to me was the one, where they did mess something up. And they were like, well, let's make something new instead. Let's see if we can salvage this. And it looked like this corn dog looking thing. Which I was like, that I feel like I would try that. That looks good.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued by this just like charred rice mush.
Yeah.
I think I was most, this might just be because it's the last episodes. It's the one I watched most recently, but that okonomiyaki looked really good.
Yeah.
You can put in anything you want. I want to know what that brown sauce is that goes in the top. They didn't explain what's in the sauce. They're just like, oh yeah, the sauce.
Yeah.
If they douse the whole thing in it, it's got to be a good sauce. And I want to know.
True. Let me ask you this. I don't think we've ever talked about it. That maybe we have on the Captain's Log. Are you a picky eater?
No. I'm almost a goat. The only thing I really don't like is olives, and I'm not too wild about carrots, but I can do it. Okay. Yeah, just about everything else. Go for it.
I'm a pretty picky eater. So I felt like Tsumugi a lot of the times where it's like, I don't like peppers. They're gross. So my weird thing is I don't like onions or peppers, and I also don't like tomatoes, but specifically for onions and peppers, I like when things are cooked with them because they add a lot of nice flavor. I just don't like the actual onion or pepper to be in that stuff. So that's a weird one for me. I also don't like seafood. It's just weird. I went over to someone's house one time. This is when I was in college and I was still like really super active in my church. I'm no longer religious, but we did this thing where the church would like adopt a college student. Married couples or young married couples would adopt a college student and would from time to time invite them over for meals or give them care packages and stuff like that. And I went over to my adopted family's house, and they had made shrimp wrapped in bacon. And they didn't know that I didn't like seafood. And so it was me sitting there. It's like, I'm just going to have to eat this. I'm just going to have to like tough it out and eat this, even though I think it is disgusting and all that stuff. And I did, and they were none the wiser. But it was still just like, I hate this. This is gross.
Not even with bacon?
The bacon was amazing, but not the shrimp. So... oh well. But I guess what I wanted to ask is, was there anything like Tsumugi with the peppers? Have you ever had an experience like that where you're like, I really don't like this one food, but then maybe if it's in this certain dish, it's fine, or or you changed your mind as you grew up?
Yeah. There's lots of things I like now that I didn't like as a kid. When I was a kid, I did not like meatloaf. My dad would make meatloaf a lot, I think just because it was easy. And
Interesting.
And I've had that now as an adult. For a while I was getting those HelloFresh meal boxes, which are amazing. I only stopped them because of I got to start saving money. But they are fantastic, non-spawn. But go check yourself out a Hello Apron.
Sure, I mean, if they want to sponsor us, that would be fantastic. You guys can get in contact. That'd be nice.
Yeah, HelloFresh and Blue Apron. I tried both of them, but I was with HelloFresh a little bit longer. And I just forgot to pick my own meals one week and they just sent me something.
Uh-huh.
And it was a meatloaf recipe. And I'm like, oh, I don't like meatloaf, but I already paid for this and they gave it to me. So I guess I'm going to cook it. And it was so good. I'm
Huh.
like, oh, my dad just didn't make good meatloaf, I guess.
Damn.
Or, like he's making like one big one for the family. So, like, to get the inside cooked enough, the outside is a little bit overcooked.
Burnt
And
or yeah, something like
he
that. That makes
doused the
sense.
thing in ketchup. And I'm not a big ketchup person. Like, I don't
Interesting.
want that much ketchup on anything. But I made these little ones by myself and they're smaller. So they're cooked a lot more evenly. I could put in like whatever spices I wanted to. I could skip the ketchup and it was delicious.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So, like, if you don't like a food,
Interesting.
try making it yourself and customizing it, and that might do the trick. Make like a little one just for you.
Yeah, something like that. I have a weird thing where there actually is one seafood thing that I do like. My mom made she made this. It was her own kind of creation. And so we didn't have an official name for it. We just called it tuna fish things. This is the only time that I will eat anything fish related, and it's tuna fish. And it's basically just tuna fish stuffed croissant rolls.
Ooh.
It's like mustard and mayo mixed up with a bunch of the tuna,
yeah.
And you stick it on a croissant roll with a bunch of cheese, roll it up and bake it, and it's amazing. It's so good. And then you serve that with like a side of rice or some asparagus or applesauce or something, and it's fantastic. And I make that for myself every now and then, and that is the only seafood thing. But besides that, nope. Not gonna get anywhere near me.
Everybody gets one.
Yeah. So, there you go. I think that's about it. That's all I have to say on Sweetness and Lightning. I kind of hope there is a second season though, so that things can develop.
I would really like for this show to be dubbed. I could only find a subtitled version. I think it's a great all ages show. Like, as much as we talked about, they kind of introduce these plot threads and don't do anything with them, that keeps the whole thing, like, very innocent and family friendly. Like, if they dubbed this, like, I could watch the show with my niece in a couple years and she'd like it just fine.
So, it says here, episode 12 was released, the original air date was September 19th, 2016. That was the final episode of this anime, or at least so far. But the English release date of the final volume was June 4th, 2019. So it wasn't that long ago that it came out. So it seems like they started releasing it in July 26, 2016. In English. So this could potentially still get an English dub. I could see in a year or two this getting it. I think that would be fantastic because this is one I think people should check out if they want something really relaxing and feel good too.
This is a good first anime for a little kiddo.
Sure. Did you have any recommendations? If people liked this, what should they check out? This was a tough one for me. I really didn't know what to recommend.
I don't have any other narrative shows, but if I could just talk about some of my favorite cooking channels on YouTube.
Sure. Go
Binging
for it.
with Babish is the best, and he makes a lot of food from movies and TV shows and things. Even the most preposterous thing. He's like, I'm going to try and recreate this as close to the show as I actually can. And because it's fictional, yes, of course it's nonsense and it doesn't taste good. Now I'm going to do a version of this that is actually good.
Sure.
That's fantastic. You learn a lot from there.
That's Binging with Babish, right?
Yes.
Cool.
Bon Appetit. Their YouTube channel's fantastic. They had a really, really good series about this is how you make a layer cake step by step, 5 videos about the batter and the frosting and the fillings and the construction and the decorations on the outside,
Okay.
a little video masterclass. and they have these series where this like gourmet pastry chef tries to make fancy homemade Twizzlers or Oreos or Peeps. Like she takes a junk food and tries to gourmet make it as close as she possibly
Interesting.
can, but good in her
Sounds
own
fun.
kitchen. Yeah, just go on YouTube and watch cooking stuff.
There you go. I think we should also give a shout out to Chowdown Champs. That
Oh
is the
yes.
the one that I wanted to recommend. If you're looking for
Hmm.
another food related anime, this one is in a different genre. I guess I don't know if it's an anime or not. It is a manga. It
Yes.
was on Comixology Unlimited. I don't know if it still is. I assume it is. At least will be for a while. Who knows? But Chowdown Champs was an interesting one. It's more of a sports manga, but it
Hmm.
is about competitive eating.
It's great.
And it's such a like it I pitched it because I was like, this is such a wild
Hmm.
premise that we have to do that. Let me see. I don't remember what episode we covered.
It was like
The
a year ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it was almost a year ago. Whoops, I almost had it up here. Um, Dupe. Let's see. That's October, July. Chowdown Champs. We read volumes 1 through 4 on episode 14.
Aw.
As you can check out that previous episode of the review show on your own time.
Hmm.
But I would recommend that because it's not necessarily about cooking, but it's about eating food. And there was some weird things that like, oh, I guess that makes sense that you would want to eat all of the rice first, and you wouldn't want to you wouldn't want to drink water in between because that does this and that. It's
Yeah.
strange, but it's good. It's fun.
You get to learn about actually eating Japanese food and not just
Yes,
making it. All
e-
sides of the cuisine.
exactly. So that's what I would recommend. I found some lists online that was like, hey, if you like sweetness and lightning, you should check out these things. But I didn't really know what they were, so I'm not gonna really mention them because
Yeah.
I don't know if I would like them or would recommend them. But there is plenty of food related anime and manga out there for you
Hmm.
all to check out. Pitches for this next week. It
Pitches.
is my turn, Melissa. Ooh, I almost
Yes.
dropped my phone. Let me pull up my notes here because I have the names of them written down. Okay. Let's see. I need to pull up the Wikipedia for one of them. My computer's making all kinds of noise. Do do do. Mm-hmm. Is that right? Is that how you spell it? How do you spell it? Okay, I'm pulling up the Wikipedia page. Does that have a good summary? It does not. Boo. Okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead and do pitch number 1 and 2, and in the meantime, I'm going to slowly pull up the information for my third pitch. Pitch number 1, Melissa,
Hmm.
is Titans Season 1.
Ah.
On DC Universe. This is
Yes.
a show based off of the Teen Titans comics.
Hmm.
Um, this is, I think, one of, if not the first original series that
Yes.
DCU did. I don't know if that came out first or Young Justice Season 3 came out first. I don't remember. But Season 1 of Titans came out a little while ago. I think Season 2 starts in September, if
Mm.
I'm not mistaken. Yeah, this is following some of the classic Teen Titans comics. It seems like a much darker take on the Teen
Hmm.
Titans. In fact, they have, at this point, kind of dropped the teen name, and they're like, we're just the Titans because we're no longer teens, blah blah blah. But yeah, I've been interested in this. I have yet to start any of the DCU shows. I
Mm-hmm.
have the service, but I've basically been reading comics off of it.
Yeah.
So we'll see. That is pitch number one. I would like to check out Titans season 1. Pitch number 2. Whoops. Let me pull it up here. This is on Comixology Unlimited, and it is a Comixology Unlimited original entitled The Stone King.
Hmm.
And it's one volume, and it says, when you become an adult, you have to prove yourself. At least that's how it works for the Stoneport Thieves. Ave has decided to illegally harvest healing moss from the Stone King, a mighty giant who roams the lands. Her theft goes even better than she could have dreamed. The biggest gem she's ever seen is her prize. But what she thought would buy her a ticket to adventure and a better life brings about disaster instead. And it's one volume. It looks like it's 4 issues. It's written by Cal McDonald with art by Tyler Crook. And I have not read any of the Comixology original comics. They put like a certain number of titles out there every so often. I haven't really checked them out yet, so I think this would be a good time to check out one of those.
Nice. Can you tell me real quick, how many episodes is Titans season 1?
Ooh, I believe it's 12.
Okay.
12 or 13. Let me see here. Titans season 1. So I see episode 11.
11?
It might only be 11. Let's see here. Check the Wikipedia. Yes, 11 episodes.
Okay. Huh.
There you go. Okay. Let's go to this trusty manga site. Here we go. Or pitch number 3, because pitch number 3 is in fact a manga. This one is called Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer.
Ah!
It seems like a crazy name, but it says, the world is in mortal peril. Sir Noi Corazant, the Lizard Knight, has been sent to gain the aid of a great warrior, Amamiya Yuhi, in hopes of finding the Princess Samadare. I hope I'm pronouncing all of these names right, and protecting the planet from the incredible Biscuit Hammer, poised to crack the Earth in two. Unfortunately, Yui wants no part of it, and the princess doesn't prove to be the shining hero of justice role model that they had hoped for. So I found this online, and it was just one of those things. It's like, this is such a weird name. I kind of want to see what it's about. And then I'm looking on a certain site that has some reviews, and they are like I almost stopped rating this, and then boom, top 10 right away. This is fantastic. This is how you do character development. 10 out of 10 would read again. All of that stuff. So it seems like it's kind of fantasy, action, adventure, comedy stuff. And I think it could be a fun read. I wanted to read the first 3 volumes of that, which turns out to be the first 23 chapters. If you guys out there find the omnibus editions, this would be the first 1.5.
Huh.
So it'd be the whole first omnibus edition, and then the first half of the second one. Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer.
Okay.
is pitch number 3. So pitch number 1 was Titans Season 1. Pitch number 2 was The Stone King Volume 1. And pitch number 3 was Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer Volumes 1 through 3.
I am going to go with Titans because I am in a teen superhero RPG.
Okay.
This is a live play RPG podcast. You can hear it if you go to the Lost Library feed, and our story is called Fifth Watch. Little plug there.
Of course.
So I've been wanting to do more superhero stories lately because we're gearing up towards our finale of this RPG.
Okay.
Our season finale until we start another season of it. Like, I got to get me some good teen superhero energy. And, like, the angstier, the better, to be honest.
Good.
Because, like, I got to make myself angstier.
Okay.
This is an angsty character. I got to live up to that. So this is actually perfect timing.
What... Can I ask you what your character is in that live play? Podcast?
His name is Mitch Carver. He is the son of like a renowned henchman.
Nice. Okay.
Who has like worked for like every villain in the business. And so his son is just absolutely spoiled. Like, he wears a designer suit every single day of his life.
Uh-huh.
And he's got technopath powers. So basically he's just this spoiled brat of like a teenage boy in like an impeccable all black designer suit that he wears every single dang day.
Sure.
When the rest of his classmates are in like gym shorts or whatever. And he just tries to hack stuff. And he's very much wait till my father hears about this.
Sounds
like
fun.
Think about like an Artemis Fowl or a Draco Malfoy.
I was gonna say Malfoy, yeah.
Yep. That's my boy.
Okay. Cool. Titans Season 1 is what we will be watching for this next week, so be sure to go check that out. You guys can watch it on DC Universe app. I'm sure you can get a small free trial if you guys want to watch along at home. Or it's been out. The service has been out for a little while now. It might be about time to check out all of the shows. They have Titans Season 2 is coming. They have Doom Patrol out there. They said Season 2 just got confirmed at Comic-Con of Doom Patrol. They just started Swamp Thing. Unfortunately, that had some weird mishap where it got canceled before it even got started. So they're going to finish Season 1, and that's it. So hopefully they bring that show back. Young Justice is on the show. They've been continuing that show. They made new seasons of it for that, which was one of those, like, they stopped at Season 2 on a cliffhanger. How are they going to do that? And just for years, we were all like, bring it back. And they finally brought it back with this. And you can read a whole bunch of DC comics on there, including all of the stuff that you will need to see and watch for our review show Patreon exclusive that we will have coming up in a couple weeks here on For the Man Who Has Everything. But yeah, that is about it. Melissa, where can they find you on the interwebs?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT.
And I am at Yo Kyle Springer on Twitter and Instagram. I really need to stop plugging my Instagram because I don't use it anymore.
Put pictures on there.
The last one I did, I think, was at the start of the summer. And I haven't updated it since then, and I've since deleted the app off of my phone. So, follow me on there. Anyways, maybe I'll surprise you all with a picture.
Yeah,
Who knows? If you guys want to follow us, we are at the Whatnauts on Twitter for updates about any of our shows. TheWhatnauts.com is where you can get more information. Search the Whatnauts on wherever you get your podcasts, and that's where you can find us, and it's spelt like astronauts or cosmonauts. And I guess that's our 50th anniversary of going to the moon, so
Moon.
There you go.
Celebrate Moon with us. We did talk about the moon on the latest
don't
Captain's
moon
Log.
us.
We'd rather you didn't, yes.
Yeah, that is what we will be covering for this next week is Titans Season 1. We will be back next week. This is episode 67 of the Whatnauts review show. Adios.
Bye.
Thank you so much for checking out that episode of the Whatnauts review show. You made it all the way to the end. I don't know why I'm all the way over here. I should be here. Let us know in the comments below what your favorite food is, or if you have some weird food story. We would love to check it out. Go subscribe to our channel up here. Go watch one of our other videos down there. We got all sorts of other podcasts you guys can check out. Might not be a review show, one of our book club stuff. It might be something else. Who knows? You guys will have to find out.